introduce yourself to us?
All right, well, my name is Matthew. I have lived in Korea for 5.5 years. I'm an English teacher at a academy. Yeah, I really like living here in Korea. It's a really great place. So I hope that's good enough.
That's good enough. Yeah. Okay, so what made you decide to stay in Korea for all these years?
Well, let me start off by saying the reason I came here. The reason why I came to Korea was I had a Korean American boss back home in Georgia, in America, and he really encouraged me to come to Korea, try it out, and he kind of put the idea in my head that I should stay for at least 2 years.
Okay.
And then each year I was here, I just found myself liking Korea more and more. Actually, my friends always told me you would get homesick around Christmas, you would get homesick around holidays, but I never actually experienced homesickness.
Really?
I miss my family, obviously, but I don't know, I never experienced homesickness, which I think for me means I feel most at home here.
Oh yeah.
Right? It feels like this is my first time away, and I have a house that's my own.
Yeah.
So it feels very comfortable to me now. I really like the seasons. I really like the 4 consistent seasons.
Yeah, they're pretty distinct, right?
They're very distinct. Yeah. In fact, it got super cold. In the course of 2 weeks, now we're wearing winter coat.
Yeah.
And also, I like the public transportation. That's also a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's really one of the best in the world, right? Transportation. Yeah. What kind of changes have you seen, if you've seen any, in terms of the culture in Korea, in your personal experience?
Not really a cultural thing.
Okay.
But it seems like people really love dogs now.
Oh.
I don't know, I don't know.
I agree with you on that actually.
It feels like when I came to Korea, no one liked dogs. If people had dogs, they would have little tiny dogs. But now I go to the park, people have big Labradors.
Yeah, right.
They like big dogs now. So maybe they're getting more comfortable with the idea of having animals like that.
What about the way people approach you? Do you think they've gotten more, comfortable with it, or?
That's hard to say. I think.
Okay.
It feels like when I first came to Korea, all the children would say hi to me. And then go tell their parents, oh, I said hi to the English teacher. Oh.
Yeah.
And now maybe it's because I'm getting older, or maybe it's because we have a pandemic, but kids don't approach me as much anymore. So it feels like maybe people are getting a little more comfortable speaking to me as well. Maybe just adults are doing it a little more frequently.
That's good. And I think a lot of it has to do with people traveling, before this year, but they traveled a lot more, and they're getting more, cultural experience, and they're realizing that talking is okay. It's a very natural thing. We don't have to freeze up when we see foreigners and stuff, right? You guys are friendly.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so what are a few major differences between Korea and where you're from, which is America?
There's so many differences, really.
Yeah, just at the top of your head, what could you?
I don't want to turn this into a giant pandemic conversation.
Yeah, right.
I guess I'll just say it feels like people in Korea they just seem much more responsible, and they care more about their people. It feels more brotherly here.
Yeah? More brotherly?
Yeah, it feels like there's a sense of community here.
Oh.
Whereas in America, it seems very fractured these days. It doesn't seem like people are very friendly to each other.
I see.
It's okay. I guess one thing that's nice about Korea, if I leave my phone on the table, go to the bathroom, I come back, my phone should still be here.
Yes.
But in America, there's a risk it'll be stolen. Somebody will pick it up and move it. People will it seems in America you have to be more vigilance and to really pay attention to what you're doing. But here, like, I think people are very friendly and kind, and if something happens, they'll tell you about it.
Yeah. Okay.
I really like that. I think the people here are just they look out for their own. They look out for everyone else. People in Korea seem a little more like rushed. Like they're always in a hurry to go somewhere.
Most definitely. Yeah.
But like in America, we go so slow everywhere.
Yes. How have you dealt with this pandemic situation? Being away from home, and I know it's really tough, but can you just maybe tell us how you've been dealing with it?
I will say I have been very panicked. I don't know why, but like out of all my friends here in Korea, I feel like I'm the one that panics the most about it.
Oh yeah.
If somebody's panicking, it's me. Like, there's been so many times during the pandemic where like I'll get a sore throat.
Yeah.
And I'll think, is this Corona?
Yeah.
Is this it?
Yeah. I see.
I should not have been in that area. Like constantly panicking about it. I want to be safe. I want to make
Of course.
sure.
Yeah, of course.
Now we know how to live with it a little better.
Yeah.
But it was like really scary at first because you look into like how numbers will sometimes double.
Suddenly.
They'll just double. Like they just like it gets
Just like out of nowhere, right?
bigger. It was like.
Do you think we can fully recover from this situation, like mentally and emotionally, or do you? Yeah.
Us as humans? Or
Yeah, just as humans, like just in general, like people in general. I mean.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm most interested to see what the new habits will be after we finish the pandemic.
Yeah.
Maybe we won't have to shake hands anymore. Like really, shaking hands, pretty nice. Like it's a nice thing to do, but like that's not good.
So
like our hands are so dirty.
I know, yeah.
I was watching a video on the internet, and like I guess in South America, they're greeting with their feet. They're doing like this weird like foot shake, which seems way more sanitary. I think I'm interested to see what how we're gonna change our like everyday habits afterwards.
You mentioned the word habit, so I'm gonna go to the next question, which is related to habits. When it comes to habits, what are some ways to make new habits? Let's say you want to make a new habit, or you want to break old ones. Would you maybe give us your personal intake on that, or maybe if you have an example from your personal experience?
How to change your habits?
Change a habit or make a new one. If you want to make a new habit.
Okay, so like these days, I want to actually learn Korean a little better. But the problem is, I fall into this like routine of not doing it. And so, to change the habit, I have to physically change my bedroom. I have to like change my space, because like.
That's a good tip.
I don't know, like it feels like if you just like come home. For me, if I come home, backpack here, coat here, bed over there.
Right.
Like I just get into the habit of like putting things down and getting comfortable as I go into my room.
Right.
But maybe if I like put the book near my door, or like maybe if I just change the layout where like the first thing I do when I come home is like there's a table with a book on it. Maybe I would stop there first. So you're just like changing your room layout might be a good way to break a habit.
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I would do. Like.
Have you tried it personally?
Not with studying, but I have before. Like.
And it's worked.
Yeah. Like.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit, So like if you just change like little things like that, big benefits. I guess one other example is like once you're in a habit, it's like hard to break it. My dad always used to tell me like if you want to change like a habit, you have to do something like 17 times to make it a new habit.
Okay.
So like if you just like sit down and if you just do something different 17 times, like just then it's not even gonna happen. You just have to like remember to do it every day at the same time.
It doesn't have to be drastic changes. I mean, we can start with little ones, right?
Little ones, yeah.
Little victories here and there. What would you say is the greatest invention of all time?
I can tell you what I think is not a good invention.
Okay.
I think the internet has been really bad.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's not a good thing.
What? You're like the first person to ever say that.
Like, it was really good when it first started, but I don't know, like now it's like our attention spans. I feel like since I've been using my phone more frequently, like the internet, the SMS, it feels like my attention span like is diminished. Like it feels like it's much harder for me to pay attention.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way sometimes?
Definitely.
Like sometimes like a year ago, I would catch myself YouTube on one screen, Netflix on another screen, podcast playing over here. There's just so much like stuff happening around me.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this all while just like trying to study.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just feels like I need like something happening around me. I need like the buzz of like technology, I guess.
Okay.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I do actually. I think total silence makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But you know, we need it. Like, but it's hard now because now it's like you mentioned, if it's too quiet, then it's kind of like, what's going on? You know, is something wrong?
Yeah. Being like at my part-time job a long time ago, I used to work in a bar, like in a family like restaurant bar, and I remember like just so the kids would not talk during dinner, like the parents would bring like iPads.
Yeah.
And they would just play with iPad. Like nothing wrong with iPad, nothing wrong with doing that. It's just like we're getting so used to looking at our screens and like the internet, like just dominating everything. Like the internet's made things too convenient.
All right, so go ahead.
Hamburgers. Best invention, hamburgers.
Hamburgers.
We like them.
The best. Okay, so when it comes to having a conversation, do you have any tips on how to carry good ones? And what are some important elements in having good conversations, in your personal opinion? Yeah.
I think, for me, not being afraid of looking foolish.
Okay.
I think people are so worried about like their appearance or like how it sounds. And I think that makes us a little more reserved. So just try not to think of that when you're talking.
Okay.
And another good thing about conversation, like I'm actually really bad at this, but like listening, I feel like listening is very important. Like you have to be really good at listening. Like communicate, like you can talk at somebody, but like you really should listen also. Like, and I feel like I've been like just talking at you for like for like 30 minutes now.
This is different. So
yeah.
What aren't people talking about that people really should talk about more?
Okay, what is something like taboo, but we should be talking about, like a taboo topic? Like it's like a social issue.
Sure, it can be. The issue itself is up to you. It's a very broad question, I know, but
I guess I'll talk about a personal thing, and then I guess I'll talk about like a social thing.
Sure.
I think we should talk to our old people a little more. Like,
yeah.
I'm so curious about how like life was back when my grandparents were growing up.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel that way too?
All the time, yeah.
Like, I don't know, I especially feel that way in Korea, because like Korea like got very modern very fast, right?
Yeah.
Your grandparents are from Korea, right?
They are, yeah.
Do they have like cars? Like did they have like streets to drive on back then?
No, they did not. Not that I know of.
Right, like even like that's like 30 years ago almost. And Korea looks so different. So I can only imagine what it looked like 30 years before that in Korea, right? Like imagine like probably no subway station.
Definitely not.
Probably no street lights. And I just wonder like that experience like old people had growing up, like I think we're just gonna lose it. Right? I'm so curious about it. And like I really wish I was able to go talk to my grandparents now about it. And I have so many questions to ask them, like, oh, how did you guys meet? How did my grandparents meet? What's like a thought you had when you were my age?
Yeah.
What was your life when you were 30? What were you doing when you were 30, Grandma? What were you doing? So I think we should talk to our old people and just like understand what they're talking about. It's a social issue. Maybe like sexism in Korea. I don't know, like not saying Korea's sexist, but maybe it'd be good to like get out there. Like I recently watched another movie, Ji Yun, born in 19.
Oh my gosh.
Did you watch it?
I didn't. I'm not brave enough to watch it, but I heard it's really good. So I'm planning to watch it sometime.
Well, like, yeah, just like little
You've
things.
seen it?
I watched it, yeah. Cause like my students were just like, that's the other thing, like, that's crazy to me. Like, my students very against feminism.
Really?
I was like, what? Why against? And I hear them talk about it. And it's just like, it's not my place to like tell them my opinion on it. I'm just like curious what they're thinking about it.
Right.
So I don't want to say they're against feminism, but like I guess like there's this like idea that like feminism is like a radical change, but it's not really. Like just women should be like working also. Like I dual income households are very beneficial.
Practical, yeah.
It's really practical. Like I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that has to be addressed.
Okay. Last question. If you could change one thing about the world we live in, I know these are all really heavy.
These are big questions. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, if you could just maybe change one thing, big or small, you know, what would it be?
How about you go first?
I go first?
Yeah, I realize you like this is an interview. You should like
Okay.
give feedback
I know,
into it.
yeah. Okay. If I could change one thing, like I feel like people need more day off days. Yeah, especially because I work with people who work in the company, you know, and they're just strained a lot, like, you know, and I feel like it has gotten better though. Like they made laws where you can only work a certain amount of hours, but the amount of work hasn't reduced, right? So now they're like trying to cram everything within that time frame, and then when they don't finish, they have to take it home.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I think it's just a big burden for company men and women to have to, like, their whole life is about work, you know?
Yeah.
And that destroys families too, you know, really, like even kids just want to spend time with their parents. But during the weekdays, it's almost impossible for them to do that. And so please give these people a break.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, you know. They need a rest. They're not robots, you know. We all need
like
relaxation.
Maybe I got a hot take here. Maybe I feel like in the company, like the seniority thing should go away.
Okay.
They're
working on that though.
It should go away. Like it's insane to me. Just go in and like everyone work. You know, like I'm glad you put your time in earlier, but like the system should change. I think it's okay if you take breaks. I don't have to be so rushed all the time. Sorry if I like offended people. I didn't mean to like say like that.
No, we know what you're saying.
Oh, okay. So that's the change you make.
Yeah, right. That's me. How about you?
Like we eat so much meat.
Okay.
Which I like eating meat. Meat's delicious.
Yeah.
But because we're eating so much meat, like we're having like a big side effect when it comes to the environment. Like like America makes so many cows each year. It's actually having a big contribution to the climate change. I would just like us to maybe like not view meat as like has to be included in every meal.
Okay.
Like I think it's totally fine eating vegetables sometimes or eating like other things. Like I don't think meat should be like a reward, not like a given like basic staple of food.
Right.
Do you feel like you eat a lot of meat?
I do, but not so much actually. Yeah. I think there are a lot of other foods out there that we can eat, you know. Lots, tons, you know.
That's just America. Like other countries I think are a little better about it, but we're like taught at an early age you have to eat meat.
And any encouraging words just to finish off that you would like to share with us?
Oh, okay. Just I don't know, maybe do like 3 nice things today.
Oh, that's nice.
Make the world a little more positive. Do 3 nice things today.
All right, we will do that. And thank you, Matt, for being here. Join us again sometime.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.